Hello and welcome to episode 50, I believe, of the Swimrun Show podcast. It's lots been going on, of course, World Champs, the Eliminator, and loads of races happening. And September is a really busy week, busy month in the UK and across Europe. So we've got a very special guest this week, returning once again, and my race partner in the World Champs, Davide Molinario. How are you, Davide?
Hi, Mike. Great to talk to you again.
Good. So I take it I had to leave Davide very late on the Monday night after the World Champs. How did you get back home? Okay, you have a good breakfast on the Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I met up with Claire and Piers. We went to a really nice cafe, and then there was Sabina Rappelli and Anne Hellstrom. A little chat, bit of food, and then we all dashed together to the airport, and we took it easy because we had a bit of time to chill out, really. Nothing like you're rushing around, really.
Cool, man. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I had to do a bit of a kind of normally you kind of want to arrive Saturday at the latest for the World Champs and leave on the kind of Tuesday or even the Friday at the latest. But I arrived at like midnight on the Sunday morning. It was a bit of a dash. Yeah. In and out. But the actual race, I think, well, I think it went, considering we've never raced together before, I think
Yeah,
it
we had a
went
little
pretty
practice
well.
with Davide, didn't we? And that's it.
Yeah. How did you find, so your first time on the archipelago out there, how did you find it in general, Davide?
I didn't know. I didn't know what to. I didn't know what to make of it. Before I started, and then
Right.
everything came together, and I fell in love with the course. Absolutely, completely different. It's not my type of. I like hills, yeah, and I like
Mhm.
technical ground. But the technical ground is there,
Yeah.
definitely, especially on the swims exit. Crikey, they are difficult to swim exit. I was really struggling there. I was slipping everywhere. And then the flat running is undulated, but it's all in woodlands. So the sceneries are fantastic. Yeah, absolutely loved it. I would do it again, definitely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super course. So well marked. I can't believe it. How can they mark a 70k course that well? It's beyond me, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is really well marked. Yeah, that is the thing about Ursula races. They are actually probably the best marked courses in swim run. I'm just thinking. I mean, people do occasionally make wrong turns for sure. The only time, sorry.
You get distracted, isn't it? You follow the person
Yeah,
in front and you forget to look at the signs.
yeah,
And if they
yeah.
go
That's
wrong,
it.
they go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it was great. And I suppose the fact that I usually race in a team. I think when you race in a team, you've got four eyes, haven't you?
Yeah.
I have got lost occasionally racing solo or taking a slightly wrong turn and realise and come back. But racing in a team, I don't think. Apart from Brecker Buttermere in 2016, I think it was, where they made the arrows out of sawdust. Environmentally friendly, but not very
Yeah.
effective. Anyway, um, good effort there. So yeah, so it was great. I mean, there was, I was, I realized afterwards how rusty, because I'd only done one race this year in Uto, and Uto. One of the reasons I love Uto is because you can pretty much, because the water's usually pretty cold, you can pretty much not unzip your wetsuit the whole time. So you don't have, in transitions, I was a little bit rusty on the speed, but not massively. But there were three moments where classic swim run errors on entering the water. One time, I forgot to put my paddles on. They were in my chest, under my vest.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, it's a short swim. I'll just swim on. Then I started halfway across, thinking, oh my god, the paddles are going to fall out. So put my paddles on in the swim. Another time, pull buoy, didn't put my pull buoy on. Classic. And then there was one more. What was it? Oh, I didn't zip up. I didn't zip up for one of the
Oh,
swims,
that's the
and
last one. No zipping up.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, so with those little things, it takes a little bit of time off, not much, But I also, because I've been rushing around in the last few weeks quite a lot, my meal time and digestions were a bit out of sync, and I usually usually have time to download in the toilet before a race, but I didn't, and I needed to do a number two, and it took a good few minutes off.
No, it was
Had
okay.
to be done though. Yeah,
It happens.
yeah,
It wasn't too bad. I had a good time with the volunteers at the feed station, and I took in a lot of food while you were having your break. So
yeah. Yeah, it was the feed. It was the, if you know the course, it was the out and back feed station. I'm pretty sure there's a toilet there, which there was, thankfully, and yeah, we're a good few minutes there. But apart from that, which it is all those little things are pretty minor. Everything else was. I mean, we were together on the technical
we
stuff.
didn't
We
make
were
many mistakes in transition, did we? Because there are
no,
48, what is it, 48 transition. We were pretty much spot on. Probably the worst bit was me coming out of the water, because I guess I made the mistake of picking the most common exit where everybody was exiting, where it was most wet and slippery. I should have probably maybe gone sideways where not other people had come out, and maybe they would have been better. I need to improve that definitely. But my swim exit were terrible because I was in front in the swim, and I felt like I wasn't quick like I normally am. I was a bit discombobulated, definitely.
yeah, but it's also, well, a couple of things on that. You first, I've been on the archipelago a lot, so I kind of I'm quite good at getting out of the water there. But also, I know you love your Hoka shoes, but the Vibram soles, and I stand by this, they're not as good as the Continental, and they're not as good as the VJs. It's not a massive difference, I don't think, but I've thought about this quite a lot because I tried the VJs for the first time in a race. I got some. I ran in them a couple of times. I thought, yeah, they're okay, and they are a bit sticky. I wouldn't say they were massively different to the Adidas Terex Ultra Continental grip, but I'd say maybe 5 to 10% stickier, and I'd say the Vibram are kind of 5 to 10% less sticky than the Continental, maybe. But it's small
A little bit
margins,
that
isn't it?
makes a difference, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. No, I bought those 2 3 days before the race, so I never tried them at all in a run, apart from the treadmill in the hotel. And I found them. And we're talking about the Tecton X3, the one with the
right,
Vibram.
yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I can't compare them to the Adidas because I never used them in that situation. But they were very fast shoes. I love.
yeah.
They were really comfortable and very fast. Yeah.
And what you gain, you probably, I mean, yeah, it's all that balance, isn't it, between speed on the flat and the getting out, the transition. And I
And
think
there's a lot of
in the
flat running, isn't it, there? So
yeah, in the world champs, yeah,
17K in that long run, you feel
yeah,
when you've got a good pair of shoes on, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I was dreading that kind of, well, it's probably 18K run, and I'm not dreading it, but I just knew it was going to be something we had to do. And once we'd done it, I'd be back in the kind of swim run mode again. And actually, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't too bad. I think we just
We
cracked
did.
on and
It looked like we did swim running together forever, isn't it? We were pretty much on, isn't it?
yeah, it
It
did.
was great, and we knew what we were doing because we bought lots of swim runs. So, yeah, it was absolutely spot on. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Davide, thank you for
No,
being
thank
a
you.
great teammate, and yeah, it was a great weekend, and well done. New female course record, of course, Sabina Rapelli and Anna Hellstrom
Massive
have
respect.
a fast time. And big shout out to Adriel and Hugo, who I know obviously had some fatigue, particularly Adriel, who'd done the full one water race experience to the end, pushing very hard. So yeah, geez,
I
I'm still.
am speechless when 10 days before he did the one water race, you know,
Mm,
and then he goes and comes second in the World Championship. You can tell this guy has got a lot of mileage under his shoes. This guy
yeah,
does a lot of training. It's very impressive. We're talking about nearly semi or professional athletes now, aren't we here? They are
Yeah,
good guys.
yeah, yeah. That is a good. Well, yeah, that's a good point. The elite program OtillO
Yeah,
is launching is something if you are towards the elite category. Well, it's hard to say in swim run who's elites, I suppose, a little bit, but the way they're kind of deciding in this initial stage is the top three, so podiums at the World Series races get the chance to be part of the elite program, and you pay, from memory, I think you pay like a €500 fee for the year, and you get free entry to all the World Series races. I think that's what it is, which is awesome. I mean, if you just need to do
very
2 World Series races, and you've made your money back in a way, and you might win. You might. Well, if you are elite, you probably will get on a podium potentially. So that is cool, exciting.
You
The only
can't
thing I didn't.
have to increase the
So,
prize money if they're gonna start having
yeah,
elite teams.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's on their agenda. I didn't notice whether it was podiums on the solo and team, or just. I don't
Yeah.
think it mentioned team or solo, but I'm sure that'll come out soon. It'd be nice, I suppose, if it's just team, but I don't know. I don't know what's best for the sport, to be honest. But yeah, great, OtillO. Well done on
Yeah,
that
there
one.
was a massive coverage of the World Championship. I don't know if it's like that every year, but the low tide boys were there filming.
Yeah,
And then there was Instant Swimrun, the
yeah,
French podcast group. They filmed the whole 8 hours and they followed the leaders. So I
mm,
had a look at all the videos, and you really get to see how the leaders work.
yeah,
Out of the water fast. At the feed station, just fill up the water, no nutrition because they got their own nutrition. Every
yeah,
transition is super fast. Yeah, very
yeah.
efficient. Yeah.
They are. They are. Yeah. On that point, the, the food is so. I mean, I think we did okay on the food, but we could probably still have eaten more. But I think it felt okay.
You felt
How did
okay.
you
I
feel?
just made a massive mistake.
Oh
I had
yeah.
this idea about loading all the gels in these flasks, flexible flasks, and I had
Mm,
it on my stomach because it did work at Rockman.
right.
But in this, obviously, the World Championship is 86. Was it 86% running, something like that?
Something like
So
that. Yeah. Yeah.
these
Yeah.
flax bouncing on your stomach continuously, and
Mm,
they were really uncomfortable. So if I
mm,
was to do that again, I think I will have the gels in the gel normal sachets and feed that way. There was a massive difference.
okay. Yeah, because in Rockman, you're not running as much, are you? You're walking quite a lot
No, you're
or
walking a
slow.
lot uphill. Yeah, you're running
Yeah.
downhill some of the flats, but it's completely different. So they're definitely not uncomfortable and they're really convenient. But in the World
Mm.
Championship, definitely I would change strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing that happened to Davide, which was a challenge, was he had a great fall on his backside, which was he recovered. Yeah, it was great because
Yeah.
he wasn't injured. But it actually popped one of your
The
soft
water,
flasks, didn't it?
yeah, the water
Yeah, the
bottle.
water bottle. Yeah,
Started
yeah,
leaking, so that was out the window. So I had to then
yeah.
rely on the feed station, and surprisingly, I was drinking seawater
Oh yes, yeah,
in the two long swims
yeah.
because it's really lightly salted, isn't it? And
It is. Yeah, yeah. Surfers Against Sewage. Check that one out.
yeah,
So well
it's
done.
clean. I hope the seawater in Sweden, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
it is. It is. Yeah. Well, how were you on Tuesday? You fine, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah. It's people do. I have a little sip every now and then. No, I don't drink a lot of it, but little sips. Um, so yeah, great race as you'd expect. Great to see Claire and Piers Valance racing
Oh,
so
wow,
well.
they're amazing.
907 or something.
Yeah,
We think
9:15.
that's a new British record. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah, we thought maybe we could keep up with them a little bit, but they were gone.
Yeah, oh yeah. At the start, we were thinking we'd try and keep up with
Yeah,
Piers and Claire, but they were gone. Yeah, but I think probably, we probably paced it right for ourselves. I think if we
we
went,
did. Yeah, yeah.
you never know. It was good conditions. There were, I was a bit race rusty.
No, you were great on technical ground. I was really because obviously you're from Wales. You're used to technical ground. You were super on technical ground. Probably better than me.
That's
You were,
that.
flying.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah. That's why I love Uto and Gothenburg. Yeah, yeah, that's my thing really. As soon as there's a flat run, I'm kind of out. That's it. Game over. Um,
No,
but
we
yeah.
were at a good speed, Mike. We were both, pushing our limits and,
Mm.
together, and we felt like we didn't really have to wait for each other. We were pretty much going at our comfortable pace. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah, it would be nice to. Now we've raced together. It'd be nice to have another crack at it, or race
Definitely.
another long one together for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really go for it. So yeah, awesome. So how was you did Rockman again? Is it your third time over in Rockman?
Second.
Second, yeah. How was it
Second.
this year, Davide?
It was the toughest one they had, apparently, in terms of bad weather.
Oh yeah.
And I loved it even more than last year.
Okay.
The more I do that race, the more I want to do it again. It was just Julia and I had done a lot of training in the Lake District, so in the fog, rain, and all of that. So it didn't take us by surprise. We were absolutely fine with that. We did a lot of preparation with the course. I made sure I knew the course really well. I had managed to extrapolate the GPS out of the and create a GPS out of the route that they provided, which was allowed. But that helped us massively because there were problems with the course. People were getting lost, and there were problems with the fog as well.
Mm-hmm.
People were getting lost. Even in one of the swims, they couldn't find the exit.
Oh
And
dear.
so we had an advantage there, as well as preparing ourselves physically. We prepared, make sure we knew the course really well. In fact, pretty much everybody else had made mistakes on the course. We managed pretty much to crack it all, and there were a lot of UTMB people. We kind of stalked all the competitors and all the mixed pairs to see how we could do. And Julia and I, we spent one evening, researching all the competitors, and we thought, if we can get in the first 10, I'll be happy. And then we found ourselves in third place. I don't know how it happened,
Yeah.
but we were just like,
Brilliant.
didn't come through, really. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. Third place, mixed category. I mean, brilliant, brilliant.
Julia was
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that preparation paid off because I don't think they gave out the GPX file, did they? But you
No, they
could kind
didn't.
of.
And Marcus said, don't want to give out the GPX file because he had problems in previous years where people were following the GPS and not the sign. And then if they had to make last minute changes, which they often have to do with Rockman because of the weather condition, they might take out swims or change the route if it's foggy. They didn't want people to rely, and there is a point there, they didn't want people to rely on the GPS because then they'll go off course.
Yeah.
In the fog and the condition, perhaps were opting towards having a GPS, and luckily we did, and we used it, especially in the swim. I stopped in the middle of the lake, and I was able to tell where the exit was because I looked at my watch. All the people were going around in circles, probably not even realizing they were going around in circles because the fog was really thick.
God.
But then it started the excitement. It was,
Yeah.
like adventure racing. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Sounds good. So yeah, you actually, just to let listeners know, you extrapolated a GPX file from the visible map using ChatGPT. Is that right?
Yeah, and I am really not a very tech person at all. My boys always take the mickey out of me. But I thought I'll have a go. And following very complicated instructions, ChatGPT managed to extrapolate the GPS, and then I managed to put it on my watch. And I felt safer. I felt I wanted to have it. And yeah,
That
and
is
it helped.
yeah.
I think there was
Good.
somebody else that did it as well. I wasn't the only person, but it was allowed because Mark had mentioned if you want to somehow create a GPS file of your own, you're absolutely fine. But I don't want to hand it out, so we were not breaking the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah. Cool. Well done. Well done. Yeah. On that fog point, I just remembered Stefan doing the briefing before the World Champs said there might be fog. Like it was heavy fog
Yeah.
on the Monday morning, and there was a plan A, plan B, plan C. Plan D, I think, as
Plan
well.
D, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that was one of the plans was slightly worrying, where if you there was a series of the try and delay until the fog cleared, which is pretty standard, and a good practice. It would mean that the cut-offs, some of them would have been still in place, so more people would have got cut off if they started at 8 a.m. Anyway, but the one that was slightly worrying is if the fog comes in, if you started a swim and you're swimming along, and then the fog comes in, you can't see land.
Yeah.
The instruction was to just to wait there and blow a whistle, which I imagine would be quite daunting,
Yeah,
especially if it was a pig swim
no,
or.
my option. I would want to again. There we had the GPS, so probably
Yes.
in case of fog, I would have probably be tempted to go to the swim exit and then maybe wait
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But I
Because
guess when it's fog in there, it gets quite thick. I guess isn't it potentially quite
it
dangerous?
must do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, being in the middle of a swim at 1.4K swim, not seeing any land, and maybe not even seeing your partner if it's that bad, or any rescue, it could be really bad. But yeah, the watches could help in that situation, and of course they do have compass functionality. Anyway, it didn't happen, so but it's good to have it's good to have plan A, plan B. Yeah, so great work by everyone over there. So you missed out. Oh, Davide, you missed out on the eliminator this other weekend there.
Yeah, I felt really bad because I loved that race. Absolutely love it. And we, apart from the fact that I knew I wasn't going to be at my 100%, but that didn't matter really. I would have come to support you anyway. But we started a lot of building work in the house, and there's a lot going on. And last year we started after September because we wanted to do a few races in September. And we ended up spending 3 months trying to get everything done before Christmas, where we didn't do any training at all. October, November, December, and I didn't like it. So this year the jobs started a bit earlier because again we're trying to get everything done before Christmas, and so that means that we are a little bit incapacitated in terms of going racing. And
No, don't worry, David. You've done a good few eliminators, and I appreciate that.
Friends came over, Sharon and Jane, to race, and this is part of the thing is I've tried to involve the Tri Club to come and do because your races are the perfect swim run get started. For anyone that hasn't done it. Bill and Cressy managed always to bring up a lot of members of their Tri Club, and I managed to bring 2. But it would be amazing if every Tri Club, pushed their members to kind of have a go at this thing, because your swim run, your eliminator is definitely the best opportunity to get to know what swim running is without having to do anything too difficult, because the swims are fairly short and the run are fairly short, so it's just a great introduction.
Yeah. The thing I've noticed is that just the cross pollination, if you like, between the guys who are experienced, teaching almost the guys who aren't experienced, either verbally or visually, just by seeing them. I mean, that does really happen at the eliminator, and the guys obviously have got knocked out in lap 3, 4, whatever. They then watch lap 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And they watch carefully and they go, oh, okay, that's that, right? So
And
it is good in that way.
They can see the whole race unfolding in front of their eyes, because they stand in the middle on the bridge and it's all happening around them, and they get to understand how it works really quickly, don't they? No, well done,
Definitely.
Richard, for breaking my record.
Yes, he did. Richard Stannard.
That guy was on a mission, was he?
He was on a mission. He's quite dedicated, and he was definitely out to break it, and he did. Well done, Richard. 14 minutes, 51 seconds. And I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I'm glad he did break it by that, because Paul Skipper got in touch, and in May, before Richard Stannard came along, we weren't really looking at course. I wasn't looking at course records. But it makes sense, because it is a set, unlike a lot of swim run races, it is a set course, exactly the same each year. The wind might change, etc. But the distances are the same. Whereas in some swim run races, there's tweaks. Even the world champs over the years has changed quite a bit, actually. Fundamentally not, but a few changes over the years. And even, lots do change. So course records sometimes are a little bit false. But this isn't. And Paul Skipper pulled up a time that he did in the first one, the inaugural race, of 15 minutes, 19 seconds
Did
from his
he?
training peaks.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So I'm glad to make it clear. Not that I'm glad, but Richard has definitely beat that. So yeah, that's cleared everything up.
I don't
And
do
Rihanna's.
better than what I'm not. This is so I'm number 3 now, am I?
You're number 3, Davide. But don't worry, you'll. We'll see what happens. But Rhiannon
No, I
Roxburgh
love it.
set a new female course record as well. I
Oh,
think it
wow.
was it 16 minutes 10 seconds? Yeah.
It had to happen. She's done so much training for the one water race, isn't it? She was so
Yeah.
I could see she was so strong in Wales with Chris. Really
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, you raced at the Wales Swim Run. Yeah, Chris and Rhiannon were
Yeah, I
there,
was
and you
behind
two.
them. Yeah, and second overall. They were first overall, but they were a good few minutes ahead of us. Definitely in the swims, they were giving us so much ground. They were super fast.
Yeah, they were. They were. It was a shame. Yeah, we talked about one water race last episode, but they didn't get the full chance to kind of express that fitness because we were just so bad. Yeah, we had a few mistakes.
Following you guys, it was really, really amazingly gripping. I was while I was at work, I had the phone next to me, and I wasn't missing anything. It was an incredible thing to watch that one. The coverage of that
Yeah.
race is amazing, isn't it? I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is mind-boggling
It is, isn't
when
it?
you're out there. Oh, Davide, I think we've got quite a chunk of kit to talk through here. We've kind of touched on shoes there, so let's go back. Let's rewind a little bit. You bought Hoka Tecton 3s a couple
Yeah.
of days before the World Championships, which is awesome. We love that spirit. How were they? We talked a little bit about the grip. They're okay, but not amazing. But the rest of the race, how were they?
So they are definitely on the they are carbon. So and they've
Okay,
got quite a
right.
bit of cushion underneath, but they're really, really stable on the toe. In fact, when you zip them up and you fasten the laces, the toe, because Hoka had an issue before with the first trail running shoes that they had, that they used to roll around on the toe quite a lot. But these ones are really firm on the toe, but they are a little bit softer. Definitely, you feel the heel moving around a bit. So as long as you make sure you put in the technical ground most of your weight on the toe, then they're absolutely fine, and you get used to it. And then when you go on the flat, oh my god, they're fast, they're comfortable, they're fast. Did not have even a hint of a blister, any soreness on my toes. They feel like they wear like a pair of socks. Really,
Wow.
really cozy, absolutely amazing. I was really surprised. And they got this funny neck that comes up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stops all the stones going in. And to be honest, it's really useful because when we went running in the Lake District, continuously Julia and I, had little stones popping into the shoes, and you had to stop and take them out. And you don't want that situation in the races. So yeah,
Yeah.
love them. Yeah.
Good. So good reports from that. What did you have on wetsuit wise?
Wetsuit wise, I had the warmest of the Arc, the Orno, and it was even a little bit too warm, perhaps at times. I would
You
say.
did have, you had the thermal kangaroo as well, didn't you?
I had also the thermal kangaroo. I probably, if I had the choice, I would have probably done what the top guys did, and they had the Uto Air, maybe with a lighter kangaroo and with the sleeves up, and that probably
Yeah.
would have kept me just a little bit cooler, because he was getting
Yeah.
on the warm side, especially during the long runs, wasn't he?
Yeah. I was actually, because I know you had the great thing about the kangaroo, more so than the thermal properties, I think, is kit, the gear, the food carrying capabilities of the kangaroo top is the main thing. And I knew you only had the kangaroo thermal. So kind of if you didn't wear a kangaroo top, then you'd struggle to carry all the food. So it was kind of you had to
Which
do
is a
it, and
shame, isn't it? You
you
feel like sometimes you could have a few extra pockets in the Arc wetsuit, so you don't have to carry the kangaroo. I don't know. What do you think?
yeah, it's. I mean, it is. It's. I feel like there's work to be done on the nutrition carrying side. I've mentioned
Yeah,
it
I
before,
think so.
um, uh, and it's tricky. It is tricky. You and for most people, you can't afford like 5 different options of Arc wetsuit and 3 different options of kangaroo or whatever.
Yeah.
Different sizes as well. So because the size comes into it too. If you're particular one water race or the world champs, if you're for some races, I might feel more comfortable with a small Arc Uto if I'm not wearing anything underneath, like no kangaroo top. Whereas if I'm wearing a kangaroo top with low, like I don't know, 90 grams per
Professional
hour
cost talking
for
about.
10 hours,
Yeah.
yeah, I might need a bigger suit. So yeah, it's complicated. There's on the actual wetsuits pockets. It's tricky to. You're running out of space. I know some suits have experimented with side of the legs, which does make it slightly slower in the swim. But could could you do something on the back of the legs so that's not kind of
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
as I mean you can you can reach the back of your leg, no problem, and it's less in the kind of water resistance kind of area, isn't it? Because it's on the back of your
So, for
legs.
example, we were discussing with Claire and Piers the pockets that exist in the Arc wet. So there are 2 pockets down low either side,
Mm, yeah,
but they've had to stitch them up a little bit because they were letting stuff out. So
yeah,
those are great, but they're a little bit because they are at an angle. The stuff tends to pop out occasionally when you get your wetsuit down for the run,
yeah,
like 70K run.
yeah.
Stuff wants to come out of those pockets, so they've had to add a few little stitches, for example.
Yeah, so yeah, that's right. Piers did some needlework, didn't he? Yeah, yeah. No,
Oh, it did.
I'd forgotten that. Yeah, yeah. No, that is a good point. That happened to me on the. Not even I hadn't zipped down, cab down. I've just unzipped, and yeah, they do had a couple of bits in there, and they do
Yeah,
pop out a bit. So yeah, maybe the angle of that pocket, and maybe there could be like a little flap over it, maybe
that's right. Or no,
or a
a
bigger flap, or
Velcro, an elastic that holds it tight. I don't know.
yeah, this it's. I know Arc and Daniel Sand are very keen, who he kind of designs them. They're keen to be like as streamlined, as slick as possible. Originally they didn't have any pockets, and in fact, the Head Aero, which was the first generation wetsuit for swim run, didn't have any pockets in, and that was the kind of mindset. But as we go, and it used to be, I used to not carry that much food and rely on the aid stations more. But nowadays, it's definitely a shift to carrying all your own food at the front
Yeah,
of the pack, anyway.
definitely.
And it's, yeah, it's one of those conundrums. It's interesting. It keeps us thinking, doesn't it?
Aqua definitely have come so forward with the designs of the. I'm sure they're going to continuously evolve.
Yeah,
Into their wetsuits. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So that's wetsuits done. And on the paddles, of course, the Evolvent carbon paddles. How are they? Well experienced in those now,
Well,
Davide.
I've used last year. I was I've started using smaller ones for the races and using just the big ones for training. But I put a lot more work, and this year I've used the bigger ones for training, for racing. Sorry, and yeah, I absolutely love them. The Evolvent Carbon are just amazing. What can you say? It
Yeah,
just. But there was a guy with bigger paddles. We were discussing this, isn't it?
yeah.
Arnaud
I
Delustrac,
didn't
he's called.
say again.
I think it's called Arnaud Delustrac, the winner. In a
Okay. Kebab League, right? Yeah. You sent me a screenshot. He looked like he had what
he
paddles?
had
They
this
look like
enormous.
massive arc. Go on.
Yeah, they look like a bit the design of art, but I haven't seen on the website. They don't make them that big. So unless they were bespoke designed for him, But they had a really long bilateral extension towards the arm, longer than you normally see. And
Okay.
he also had the strap, instead of going around just the middle finger, he was going around his middle and annular finger as well. So
Okay, round 2 fingers.
yeah, 2 fingers in. So I reckon they must have been specially designed for him, but they were obviously very, very fast.
Mm. Wow. Eagle eye there, Davide. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was in a video, and I took a screenshot, and I thought, "Gosh, I don't recognize those." And yeah, and they looked definitely different. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and those guys are really fast runners as well. You know, they must have done some damage on the runs.
Well, I stalked him, and this guy has got his personal record on the half marathon of 106, and on the
Oh.
10K 31 minutes. So he's fast.
Yeah. Wow.
Very,
106 half marathon. That's kind of,
yeah.
isn't that like,
He's a
that's
triathlete.
almost elite. It's
Yeah.
almost elite running, isn't it?
You see where we're
I
going
think,
here. You know, there are really some elite guy coming to the swim running, which is amazing, isn't it?
yeah. Well, that's Alexander Yee. Was it? Did he do like 111 or what? You know, the triathlon GB. Alex Yee, I think in a half marathon. So he was well off 106. I think.
Yeah, I don't know whether that 106 was in a triathlon or just in a half
No,
marathon.
no, this was a standalone. Alex Yee. I'm sure
Standalone.
he
Oh,
did
okay.
I'm sure he did a standalone half marathon and did like, oh, I can't remember, but I feel like
Yes,
it was a
the
good few
106
minutes.
is mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, something to work towards. Okay, that's the paddles and goggles. I mean, less of an issue for most people, but I mean, well, actually, when I have my swim venue in Liverpool, and actually I get asked a lot about goggles, how would you stop them steaming up, and etc. etc. But yeah, what did you have on the old
So
eyes, Davide?
I'm very difficult to fit goggles in. I can't just buy a pair of goggles and put them on because they will leak. So then I found years ago the Michael Phelps one, because they got an interchangeable nose bridge, and
Okay,
they've always been my swimming goggles for the last, I don't know, 10 years. I've used those all the time. Then they stopped making
cool.
them. I think somebody else was making them, and they were not as good. But I managed to find a pair, a great cost, new, on the
Right.
internet. I also bought for training the Magic 5, I think they're called. You know, the one that they design
Yeah,
especially for you. They
yeah.
were good, but not as good as the Michael Phelps. So that they're definitely my best choice. What
Okay.
about you?
I just wear any goggles I can get. I don't seem to be to doesn't seem I can
Yeah.
seem to be able to just wear any goggles. I think you know what I had a I don't know what they were, to be honest. And towards the end, so big shout out to Davide actually, because you led all the big swims. Anything that was more than kind of 300 meters, Davide led, and so
That's all right.
awesome. Um, and then when I was really looking forward to getting to the end of Orno, because I knew we could kind of most of those swims are pretty short, so we could kind of unleash
Yeah,
and just do our own thing, which is nice for
yeah,
both of us
yeah.
just to swim with no bungee and get out on the rocks. And at that point, I took my goggles off and put them away um, because I'm happy swimming without goggles, and it makes my transition slightly quicker.
Yeah, there's somebody else you had on your podcast that likes swimming without goggles. Who was it?
Ben Teesmeyer,
That's
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he does. Yeah, I'm happy with both. For swimming behind, you know what? My swimming it took me a while to get into swimming behind because I've not done it since. I did do it with Gaz actually in Uto, but they were very short swims. So I did that a little bit. No, actually, no. I led the swims in Uto mostly. I think. Yeah, I did. I led, so that makes sense. Yeah, so it felt a bit alien because I haven't done it properly for a while. So it took me a while to get into the swimming, and but if I am behind in on the bungee, I prefer to wear goggles because you can see better underwater with goggles on, so you can see the bungee better. So yeah,
All the
if
jelly.
I'm swimming, jellyfish. Yeah, if I'm swimming, if I'm leading or solo, definitely solo. I'm happy without the old goggles.
Do they
But
never
yeah, there's
do
pros.
they ever steam up your goggles?
They do a little bit, not massive. If they do, I try, stick a bit of seawater on or lick them, and they're okay. But yeah, it's one of those things that happens to 99% of goggles, I think.
Yeah. And then changing subject,
Yeah.
what do you think about the bungee that you chose?
It was a normally I'd go for a slightly thicker one.
I
I went for
normally
the Chris.
one too, yeah.
Yeah, but I went for the thinner one that we've experimented with Chris Goodfellow,
Yeah.
with pros and
This
cons.
in Wales, we have a selection of about 7 or 8 different thickness bungees. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely a project to be done because, yeah, there's pros and cons. The thicker it is, obviously, the less stretch there is, so the person behind will stay more in the pocket behind. And there's the stress on the lead swimmer if the and the loss of energy if there's lots of stretch, blah de blah de blah. The thing I liked about the thin one is on the transitions because it's stretched when
Yeah.
you get out. If you've got a stretchy bungee or thin, basically, if it's 4 mil, it's more stretchy than a 6 mil. Is generally the kind of rule. It gives you more leeway to kind of not get pulled over by your mate. Where if it was a 6 mil or thicker, yeah, yeah, it's a bit more tuggy.
And in the runs, if you trip or something happens, you're not pulling the other person over. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the
So
swims, I felt that sometimes potentially the swimmer behind ends up too far back and not streamlining from drafting from the front swimmer as much because the bungee has got a little bit too much give, perhaps. That was the only
yeah,
downside, isn't it?
I agree. I think I think a 5 mil, which is probably what I've used the most, is maybe anyway. Yeah, we didn't practice with beforehand with any stuff. It was certainly not with the thinner one. But yeah, it's definitely a topic that I kind of like.
Is it?
Yeah, for sure. And also the topic, not I don't think it's been mentioned at all. Really, is what you. Some people wear waist belts. Some people wear bungee, like thicker bungee as a waist belt. There's a bit of work to do on that. Some wetsuits have little little kind of cords built in.
Yeah, yeah, one
I
of
know the
our.
Aquasphere. Yeah, so yeah, it's all good stuff to experiment with if you've got the time. So yeah, and then yeah, shoes wise, I went for the VJs. I hadn't tested them much. I'd done a couple of runs, the VJ Max 2, and the only thing I would say, they're great. They are a little bit more grippy. I don't think they're massively more grippy than the Adidas Continental Sole, but a little bit more definitely. Because the toe box is so. I mean, I have wide feet, and I'm always nervous. They'll be a bit tight. So, but I asked a few people, Gaz, Rian, and Ian Corliss, of course, is an ultra runner who does a lot of reviews on trail running shoes. Check those out. They all said they are wide fitting. They fit quite big. So I went for size 9, which is normally quite small for me in the Adidas anyway. And they were still probably a touch big, even in the size 9 in the front. And I did on the running, it one of my, I think it was my right foot, got a little bit of, I don't know if it was cramp, but there was slight discomfort. And I think it's because there's so much space in the front toe box. So I think if I got the same pair again, I'd go 8.5, which is unheard of for me. But yeah, that was the only learning on that one.
Yeah, so do you get to try them where you buy them before you put them on, or you buy them online?
Yeah, you can send them back. Though they were good fit. I just felt over that distance,
The longer, smaller, yeah.
it felt after testing them like on the World Champs course, an 8.5 would work. I don't know. It might be too small. It might be. I might need an 8 3/4. So it's. Yeah, that was the only feedback, but it wasn't a problem. It didn't start. It just felt something in my foot.
I had to go the other way
Not a
around with
biggie.
the Tecton X3. I had to go a size bigger, a 9.5. I normally use a 9.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah, and I
depends
think
on
that's
the
right with the
brand.
Hokers. Yeah. Yeah. I think the VJs used to be narrow, and now they've gone really wide, which is great. Yeah, but normally for reference, Adidas, I'm kind of definitely go 9.5, maybe 10. Yeah, so there we go. That's a kind of reference point, I guess. Any more races coming up, Davide?
I don't know. I don't know because we got obviously you got the Eliminator next weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and
Saturday.
then there is obviously the Survivor. Then there is the Coniston, and I don't know whether I can spare any time at the moment. There's a lot of stressful building work going on, and it's a question mark. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's we're also keen on starting our high rocks training.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did that 2 years ago. I did that 2 years ago. I ended up going to London and Vienna to do high rocks. Even managed to get on the podium. I don't know how. And
Wow.
found that it was a fantastic thing to do in the winter. And I'm kind of really keen of changing the training now for the winter and already start thinking ahead for Rockman next year and the bigger races. So doing my leg work, strength work, and all that. So and it's a lot more, housework friendly. I can just go and do it in the gym. I go for a swim, do a bit of workout, and then come back home and follow up what's going on. And so it potentially could be it this year for swim run.
Okay.
Yeah, with a
High
commitment.
Rocks. So that's a set course, isn't it? What's your best time then
Yeah,
on
a bit
High
like
Rocks?
your eliminator set course. So wherever you do it in the world, the conditions are exactly the same. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I even
And
had a
what's your
chat with Claire and Piers about it because you can do it in pairs, not just solo. I did it solo, but in pairs you share
Mhm.
the workouts. And I kind of jokingly say to Claire and Piers, it would be nice if Julia and I and you and Piers were, racing together in a high rocks. And they didn't say no; they were quite keen. So you never know.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool. That'd be good. That'd be good. But wear some swim run t-shirts when you're there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So normally, there is this thing in high rocks. Everybody, men's are all topless. They tend to be. It's a bit
All
of a
right. Okay. Okay,
it's
Davide.
very hot indoor.
Whatever. I'm not going into that, mate. What? What's your best time? People will want to know. We've got to beat Davide. What's your best time at High Rocks?
I think it was 107 in Vienna.
Okay.
I was faster in Vienna than I was in London. And in London, there were 500 men in my age group because it goes by age group, which is an advantage when you start getting a bit older. But I was 1 minute slower than in Vienna, where I was. There were less people in my age group, but the standards were a lot higher. So yeah, it was over 107, but I can't remember the time. Yeah,
Okay. We'll call it 107.
yeah, there you are.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, our combined age, I think, was quite impressive at the World Champs. 100
Yeah,
years
isn't it?
old.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good.
there
And
you
in
are.
fact, the one water race team GB combined age of 200. So it's very round numbers uh, for the combined
So,
ages this year. So
do you know how? Who was the oldest person in the one water race then? Do you know the age
I
at all?
think it was Gaz Roberts. Yeah, I think is he 55 or is he 54? I can't remember, but
He hasn't
he's
55. It doesn't look. It
I know he
doesn't look
doesn't look it. Yeah,
his
yeah,
age. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there we go. And I think, yeah, I wore the Uto wetsuit, which was perfect. Had just a head kind of kangaroo top, but heads version from many years ago. That was good.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Paddles, yeah, I had the Evolvent paddles. I actually lost one of my main Evolvent carbon paddles. I lost one of them on the west coast of Ireland in the surf. Massive waves. Stupidly, shouldn't have had my paddles on. So I actually borrowed Rianne's paddles for the race. But yeah, that was it really. That was the standard kind of kit. I'm just trying to think of anything else.
We saw an interesting piece of kit for sale in for the ladies. They had a bra with pockets to put nutrition, isn't it?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
really
the arc bra. Yeah, that is a good. Yeah, and I know people have mentioned before a similar thing for men, like I
because you
guess
don't
be
have
a
to wear
crop.
the kangaroo top. You got something small where you
Yeah,
put your nutrition in.
yeah. It's yeah, maybe something to do there on developments. But yeah, there's some good stuff out there. Well, Davide, thank you very much. We've covered quite a bit there, I think. And good luck with High Rocks. I will follow.
Thank you very much, and good luck next week. The new course of your eliminator in Abu Dhabi is amazing because I was lucky enough to try it out with you, and it's really exciting. Very, very nice. That place is special, Abu Dhabi. Very special.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. There's a bit of wind, but nothing we can't handle. So it should make for some dramatic scenes for sure. So yeah, looking forward to it. That's this Saturday. Okay.
Okay.
Best wrap
Great
up
talking
now.
to you, Mike. Thank you very much for having me
And
on.
you, my pleasure.
Take care.
See you soon. There we go. Davide Molinario, true champion of swim run for sure over here in the UK. He was under the Italian flag on the start list, of course, but he's certainly well settled over here for more than 25 years, I think he's been in the UK. So yeah, what else is happening? Well, I recorded that before the Eliminator Abu Dhabi. So between the Eliminator Liverpool and the Eliminator Abu Dhabi, I recorded that with Davide, and it's now a couple of days after Eliminator Abu Dhabi. What a weekend! Oh my goodness. Quite a bit of wind. Actually, Saturday for the Eliminator wasn't as bad as Sunday for Beat the Tide 4K. But yeah, we talked the swim run. Who won? Well, Will Raymond, who was second to Richard Stannard in Liverpool, won in Abu Dhabi. Well done, Will. It was really experimental. All of the guys racing, you were pioneers of the Eliminator format in Abu Dhabi. And it was such a dynamic course with the tidal element. The wind is always going to be, we can't necessarily predict it too much. But the tide you can predict, but you're never quite sure how the front, middle, back of the pack, where exactly they're going to be in that tide. And it was really interesting to see. So well done, everyone racing there. Stephen Derrett was second. Harry Smith, James Dawes, Ian Houston, Graham Tunstall. First Lady, Athene Brown, Richard Searle, Victoria Cole, second female. From GOG Triathlon, of course, with racing with Simon Cole, her husband, back in 2023, won Tally Clint swimrun. So well done, Victoria, second lady there. Sally Goodall was, I believe, third lady. So yeah, great. Pete Jervis was there, not far behind. Good, really good turnout and great fun. Just basically a lot of fun. I really do love this eliminator format, and it worked. The course really works. I will tweak a couple of things. The tide time and tidal height will probably be different, and it will be different in 2026. But yeah, it just keeps it really interesting for me as well. So yeah, there we go. I beat the tide 4K swim. That was a swim, and that was a swim. It was a good swim. Helen Hislop won overall in skins, beat all the men, beat all the wetsuits, and well done to everyone taking part on the Sunday in that swim. What's coming up? Coniston this weekend, and then the Survivor the weekend after, and that's end of play in the UK. as in terms of swim run racing, of course, keep training and keep doing what you need to do. And across the world in swim run, there's been races happening and more to come. Big shout out to Eric Lagerstrom, who is a co-host with Paula Finley and Nick. Nick, I can't remember your surname, but Nick. They have that triathlon life now. I'm not a triathlete, but I do. Their podcast is more endurance as well, a bit of trail running and quite a bit of triathlon, but really great podcast, a normal kind of chat that you can relate to and learn from. So great to see Eric start. I don't know why it's taken so long to enter a swimrun race, but good to see him on the start line, and I believe he won overall. So maybe he'll be at the World Champs next year. What else is happening? Kit, I just wanted to, just on the VJs. I did an experiment since the World Champs because they're great. As I said, not massively different in between the continental grip. They're just a bit stickier, I guess, a bit more grip. But as I mentioned to Davide, the room in the toe box for me, I did an experiment with my big Smart Wall mountaineering socks. They're like really thick, and I put them on with the VJs, and they actually felt really comfy. So I actually think I'd go 8.5 size, UK size 8.5, which is what is that 42 European size, which in every other shoe is definitely too small for me. Absolutely. So, but yeah, with the VJs, if I did buy another pair, I would go 8.5. Every foot is different, of course. Even my left is different to my right foot. But yeah, you have to kind of make your own choice. And it's any trail running shoe is pretty good in the UK as well. Like Coniston and Liverpool, the Wales and Cornwall. It's much of a muchness, and I think in the UK people are looking more towards what's the fastest shoe. Certainly middle to front end of the pack. They're starting to think more, can I get away with a carbon plate on this swim run race? That's definitely the way it's going. And then the in and out, the likes of Uto and Gothenburg, more into the grip situation. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, don't overthink the shoe. Really don't. Whatever works for you. There's not a lot of difference in the kind of drainage and all that carry on. People were obsessed in the early days with holding the wall, how much water each shoe held and draining and blah, blah, blah. But all the trail running shoes, and I've worn a lot of trail running shoes, they all drain, the ones I've used anyway, pretty fast. So yeah, guys, have a good time in Coniston. Or is there any other races this weekend? There probably is, but I can't think of any. I know, obviously, Grafenwater end of September. Then you've got Côte d'Azur, you've got Caen, south of France, you've got Hydra, and there's a whole host of swim runs in October across Europe. My Swimrun Championships, big shout out to Will Raymond and Athene Brown, who qualified for the 2026 My Swimrun Championships. And they also, the top three ladies and top three men from Abu Dhabi, and indeed Liverpool, won heavily discounted entries to Grinder Swimrun in Sweden in August, or Valras Swimrun in the south of France in June, I think that is. So big shout out to Nicholas Ramirez for passing on those vouchers for the front of the pack, spreading the love of swimrun across Europe. Any other news? No, that's it, guys. I am logging off. And oh yeah, don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a comment, a review, all of that good stuff is appreciated.